All right, it looks like we are live with Dr. Chapa. I finally figured it out. Woo! Goodness gracious. Great balls of fire. Can somebody say great balls of fire? It is 7:15. We are a solid 15 minutes behind schedule. But welcome to my day. It's been one of those. And so sometimes it happens like that. And you just got to roll with the punches. So at the end of the day, if you've got questions, I got answers. We are talking about how to live your best, be your best, stay your best day in and day out. So I'm very excited to share tonight's message with you. I hope that you guys enjoy the class. We're going to jump back to the front of this talk and we're going to dive in. We've been talking about the gut, and the gut rules all things health. And so if you want your gut lining to be healthy, you've got to take action. If you have symptom patterns that you weren't genetically born with, you got to take action. If you're going to sit back on your laurels and wait for your ship to metaphorically come in, you're going to miss the boat. You've got to be proactive. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And so I've been teaching this message to people for quite some time. And my gosh, what you want to talk about crazy? I'm not sure what's happening, but our screen here has gone mad. Hopefully it looks good on y'all's end. And if it doesn't, hopefully somebody will text me quick, fast, and in a hurry and let me know that we are suffering massively over here. Tech has not been my friend today. Let's see what's going on. Let me get out of this and we slip over here. Oh, well. Okay. So we're probably going to have to just run game with this thing not going to cooperate well. Let's go here. Maybe that. Let's see if that'll fix it. But we have been talking literally about the gut-brain axis for the last few weeks. But then we started talking about the gut microbiome and its impacts on other tissues, cells, organs in the body. So we're going to dive into this and get going because obviously technology is going to beat me up today. And I don't want to look too much like a fool on the Instagram lives and the Facebook lives. But the ecosystem that we have to manage to get our health right and to keep it healthy, strong, and vibrant is the gut microbiome. When the gut is healthy, your body is going to perform at its best. It is an ecosystem of 100 trillion organisms. We went on a little trip and we were passing by a beach and there was a truckload of seaweed, And interestingly, walking on the seaweed smelled bad. It didn't look so good. And yet there was a sign that said, appreciate the seaweed, as it is the ecosystem that makes the sea beautiful and amazing and great. It makes the beaches healthy and strong. And we have this idea that a beach needs to be clear and sanitary, and there can't be any debris or toxins or trash that doesn't belong, that is non-appealing to the eye on our beaches. And the reality is we go and we clean up, quote unquote, this ecosystem for beautification purposes, but we are disrupting the ecosystem, the marine life, the little creatures that are burrowing in the sand. Well, the same goes with your gut microbiome. With this 100 trillion organism system, it impacts your human genome, your genetic code at a cellular level. So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about the impacts that it has on your lungs. But first, I wanted to share with you once again that 70 to 80% of your immune system lives in your gut. Now, I know this may look a little bit familiar slide because I've had it in every presentation for the last week or so, or the last few weeks. But the reason it's there is because it's so important. You fix your gut, you fix the entire axis of your health. If your health is poor, it's because your gut immune system is wrecked, and 70 to 80% is affected here at the immune level, gut level. And if you can get this gut thing right, your intestinal tract works beautifully. Oh, wouldn't you know? More tech issues. Look at that. We're going to try again. I'm going to keep going, but just know that I am multitasking and failing miserably, but I kind of like it. You know why? Because you guys can either root me on, or maybe you're not even paying attention and you don't even realize that I'm over here suffering. But the first week we talked about the gut brain axis. The gut brain axis is essentially how we maximize our emotional state. So, like right now, I'm having a lot of technological issues. I have a lot of reason to be agitated, irritated, and reactionary. Instead, I'm just making light of it because the gut is not inflamed. Now, what if my gut was inflamed and I had a headache and a migraine, and I'm sitting here trying to process how to communicate a message to you and not overreact that my system, my computer system and camera system are working for me or against me? Well, that is a response of inflammation barriers in the body. And the gut microbiome, the gut brain axis, is the hub for 3 million more neurotransmitter production in my digestive tract than is in my brain. So if my gut is healthy, I'll respond to life. I won't overreact to life. And so when things don't go my way, when things don't go your way, the gut brain axis doesn't overreact and you don't make a fool of yourself. So the response time of the gut brain axis is the healthier the gut, the more patient you are, the more gracious you are, the more merciful you are, the healthier you are as a human and how you respond to people. Now, the second week, we talked about the liver and the gut reactions. And so you got to go back and look at these seminars because the liver's the giver. 1600 pathways in the liver need to be impacted in a positive manner. And if your gut microbiome is affected, you're not absorbing nutrients, you're not excreting nutrients, your liver will never dump into an already toxic bowel. Your digestion is digesting, absorbing, assimilating, and excreting all in the same tube. And so if the gut is overworked and not performing well, the liver backs up and deconstructs and causes metabolic dysfunction, which is where we land tonight, right? So now we're talking about the gut-lung axis. The gut-lung axis is essentially where I want to get us to, because when you start thinking about how does a person have so many symptoms, like one person has, allergies, asthma, wheezing, air hunger, excessive yawning, snoring at night. This is an ongoing issue that we see, and people are running to pulmonology for antibiotics, steroids, over-the-counter allergy medications, antihistamines to regulate their breathing, to deal with their snotty head. And we are poisoning the body at the gut level, which is then backing up into the liver, which is then backing up into the lungs. And so if you are a person that has lung issues of any kind, wheezing, snoring, allergies, upper respiratory tract infections, you're living on antihistamines, you're living on decongestants, you got the inhalers, you don't run well, exercise well because you feel like this massive amount of pressure in your chest, this means you have a gut-lung axis issue. And this is where I want to intervene and help you recognize that this can be resolved. There's a lot that your lungs are involved with. Okay, so when we see airway oxygenation of blood, when we see excretion of waste, trash, toxins, and debris, did you know that your lungs are most active between 3 and 5 in the morning? And the reason people wake up with bad, stinky breath in the morning is because the liver just came off duty at its high power impact from 1 to 3. And the excretion rate to outgas that heat off the body is coming out of the lungs. And we are also converting compounds into airborne toxins that you are releasing. And so that stench that is in your mouth when you wake up is from your liver outgassing through the exhaust pipes of your lungs. Not the best exit strategy, but an exit strategy that is used. And it's also a heat body temperature regulator. So these people that are essentially hot and bothered at night, It's because their thermostat in their system, their liver's overheated, and their body is overutilizing their lungs, and they start developing these symptoms like wheezing or snoring or disruption in sleep apnea when they do these sleep study tests. And so the gut lung axis is much involved, is very much a key player in symptomatic resolution. By taking care of your gut, you'll take care of your lungs. So again, lung issues, no worries. But did you know cooking with certain Teflon non-stick pans, having airborne pollutants in and around your house, or chemtrails in the sky, good smells plugins in your house, create so much stress that are affecting your lungs, and they're affecting the gut lining. These chemicals, even though you can't see them floating around my space right now, we are breathing in trash, weakening the immune barriers that are in our lung system and in our gut system, causing inflammation. Inflammation is not in and of itself a bad thing, but inflammation left unchecked creates a problem for you long term. And the gut, if it is chronically inflamed, will back up into the liver. The liver will back up into the lymphatics. The lymphatics will back up into the lungs as a secondary exit strategy. Now, it's not always the lungs, but it is often going to be a symptom that you may be dealing with right now, or that your kid deals with right now on the sports field. And the gut microbiome, when that dysregulated, or that those cells, those enterocytes in the digestive tract begin to break down, you start to see the lung be used as a secondary resource for excreting trash, toxins, and debris. This leads to asthma. This leads, because now your lungs are essentially trying to inhale and exhale toxins at the same time. Well, maybe you can handle that a little bit at night, wake up with some stinky breath in the morning, brush your teeth, put some peppermint oil in your mouth, and go to town. You're good to go. But you cannot handle that type of behavior all through the day when you're trying to run uphill for a stress test, or play tennis, or play soccer, or do a workout at the gym. This push of toxins out the wrong exit we're not designed to push some of these toxins out of the lungs, or the skin for that matter, or your sinuses, but that's where they're being pushed. And when the lungs are impacted by environmental contaminants in our house, I remember we used to have parakeets back about 20 years ago when Kinley was born, and she was a newborn. And as I was studying how to take care of birds, yeah, I know, weird thing you probably didn't know about me, but I had 2 parakeets, and it was very clear in the research that you cannot cook with Teflon pans and have your birds in the same proximity, living room even, next to the kitchen. Well, we were in an apartment, which was very small. Teflon and nonstick pans outgas under heat and pressure and can poison the birds. That's, if you think about it, not a far stretch from a canary bird going down into a mine or chamber. And if the bird doesn't come out, guess what the humans don't do? They don't go in the mine, because they know that something in there is poisonous and will kill them. And it could be high levels of, some sort of sulfurous gas, or high carbon dioxide environments. And it essentially poisons the bird's lungs and they die. Well, I know people are cooking with Teflon right this second watching my show, but the reality is you're not going to die, but you might have symptom patterns that you weren't genetically born with. These airborne pollutants are around you, and your body is having to deal with them. And if you're having lung symptoms, it could be coming out of your lungs as a secondary attempt to get rid of these toxins. So without further ado, get rid of the Teflon, get rid of the plugins, get rid of these good smell contaminants that are all around your house. That's easy. Make sure that you're not using aerosols and high Clorox, chemical compounds every day, all the time, that is disruptive to your mucous membranes in your lungs, disruptive to your gut lining microbiome. And even though you're not, drinking these poisons, the airborne impact hits these microbiome tissues. It's the same epithelial tissue, and it will begin to denature the gap junctions, causing leaky barriers to become more leaky, allowing more of these compounds to get in that are unwelcomed. And just because you're breathing them in, they can still make their way down into the digestive tract and create a barrier glitch in your digestive system too, which further leads to why we have to detox in the 21st century. So if you're not detoxing in the 21st century, I want to remind you, at drchapawellness.com, we've got our Detox in a Box. It is a restoration vitality program designed to maximize how your body is performing throughout the year. You should be doing 21 days every 6 months. You should be doing 10 days every quarter in order to maximize your body's overhaul. You need to clean the gut, clean the bowel, clean the liver, clean the lymphatics, and you will watch your body perform better, and you will have less joint pain, less headaches, less stress on tissues like your lungs, and you will feel more alive and vibrant day in and day out. So nice little plug here for our Detox in a Box. I truly believe in detox, and if you're not detoxing in the 21st century, guys, you're missing a huge piece of your healthcare plan. We have courses that will help you through the detox experience to maximize that process for you. The gut metabolism axis is also affected when this should have actually been in front of, I misplaced this slide, after liver, because when the liver is malfunctioning, it sends a message up to your thyroid and causes the thyroid to become dysfunctional. So we're talking about lung gut axis. I just misplaced this slide, but essentially the gut metabolism axis is absolutely affected when the liver can't keep up because the bowels are toxic, and this system literally has to slow down. And it's signaled by the liver to say, dude, I can't keep up with the workload. And the thyroid now is beat into submission with medication, but yet it is actually being bullied into submission by toxins, slowing down the liver and the lower system, causing the gut metabolism axis to malfunction. So now you're seeing it even more difficult for you to lose weight and for things to perform like you're supposed to. So another little plug for, hey, if you want a good metabolism, take care of your gut microbiome. Your liver will be better. Your system will perform better. And now back to the gut-lung axis. This gut-lung metabolic axis is where things begin to go wrong. We cannot get past just talking about symptom patterns in the lungs and not talk about things like metabolic syndrome, poor glucose and fat metabolism. Do you know how many people today cannot break down carbohydrates like oatmeal without getting constipated? I thought oatmeal was recommended by the American Heart Association for saving lives. Not true. Well, I thought the little, bee with the honey nut O's, are supposed to save hearts and support diabetes, and it's a great way to start your day. Not true. We are creating a metabolic crisis by overutilizing sugar inflammatory foods, high carb grain foods and starches that are overutilized, that are cooked in bad fats, that are stressing out the liver, that's compounding how your body can break down metabolites that you need to excrete and boost up thyroid metabolism, for which you need to feel good and have your diesel engine running like it's supposed to. The lungs basically are a secondary exit strategy. So when inflammation is left unchecked and the liver can't handle the load, it looks for a secondary exit strategy. Where? Through the lymphatics. Well, if the lymphatics get backed up, it'll back up into the sinus cavity and cause things like your sinuses to malfunction, and you'll have drippy down the back of your throat, inner ear issues, eye goo issues. You'll be constantly sinusy, right? But you could also have this symptoms of bad sleep causing fatigue the next day, and you have poor oxygen utilization. So you're not utilizing oxygen effectively at the cellular level, which drives ATP production. A lot of physiology is happening in your body without you even knowing about it. But I want to wake you up to the idea that if you're waiting again for your health to improve and you're not changing your diet, you're missing the boat. If you're not detoxing in the 21st century, you're missing the boat. If you don't take care of the gut and cleanse once a month with a parasite protocol, or my 5-day intestinal cleanse 2 protocol, or my binder protocol, you will miss the boat. There's so many good ways to go in and sweep up the trash, toxins, debris out of your digestive system so that your liver works better, your lymphatics aren't stressed, and the body's not shunting this trash over to the lungs for as a secondary help. This is just not a good plan. You would like for your body to handle these things effectively through the day without asthma, through the night without snoring, and so that you wake up feeling refreshed tomorrow, and that you're utilizing oxygen appropriately, and you feel like the Energizer Bunny in the morning, you feel like the Energizer Bunny all through the day, you feel like amazing when you get home, and then you can still have bandwidth and ability to teach class or to do a Bible study or to be with friends and family in the evening without crashing and burning. That is important. So practical takeaway when we're talking about the gut lung axis and having any type of asthma, wheezing, snoring, air hunger issues, air hunger meaning like you're sighing. I mean, I'm over here running my mouth at 90 nothing and I haven't barely taken a breath. That's good oxygen utilization. Changing your food, though, is the shift that your gut needs to impact good breathing, good metabolism, good outflow of energy. Within 72 hours, you can change your health for the better. Within 72 hours, you can impact your health negatively, spiral off into the no-no lands of symptoms and unfortunate suffering with one bite of bad choice. And yes, it could be simply one bite of bad choice. So heal the gut, breathe easier. Heal the gut, burn trash off easier so that you're not stressing your lungs while you sleep, but in fact, getting the detox effects that you need through the night, all the night long, without disturbing your loved one, your spouse, who says, honey, you got to do something about that snoring. I remember this one time I went to this camp and was in a bunk with 4 guys, and even with earplugs, the snoring was so bad that it pierced through the earplugs, and it was a long night. So bad that I got up in the middle of the night, walked out the cabin, and just went walking around in the dark because, good gravy, it was rough. I should have slept outside on the dirt and trusted, that I wouldn't get eaten or bit by a scorpion because I didn't sleep and didn't get much out of the weekend because the snoring was so bad. Today, they have ear-canceling earbuds that you can put in. And yeah, you're going to get some radiation poisoning to the brain, but at least you can put some subtle music on to seemingly balance out the nasty of the noise. But you know what? What if I had one supplement that I could offer you? It's Antronex, or it's a Liver Force product that will support phase 1, phase 2 detox and help your spouse or loved one snore less and help you and them get a better night's sleep, decreasing inflammation. I can just sit on these 2 products. One, Antronex, is a beef liver fat from Standard Process, and it essentially just helps drainage. Because remember, your liver is detoxing heavily between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. The Liver Force is essentially phase 1 stimulants that help drive fat-soluble compounds of toxins, waste, metals, chemicals, day-to-day debris, metabolites that your body was outgassing or offsetting from the biochemistry that's happening day in and day out, converting them into water-soluble compounds that you can pee out, sweat out, breathe out, and poop out the next day and through the night. I mean, that's why some people have night sweats during the night, because their body is using their skin as an exit strategy, which we'll talk about in another class. But again, I digress. I really just want to put this together, that the gut and the microbiome, when they are in balance, that ecosystem influences the liver, influences the metabolism, influences the liver, influences the skin, influences the sinuses, influences, tonight we're talking about the lungs. And so I really want you to grab hold that you can change this stuff. The toxic burdens that we are dealing with day in and day out is absolutely, imperative that we get fixed. So the gut-lung axis, right? The toxic factors that are causing you to breathe in such a way that you're really breathing acidity. See, your lungs are a buffering system for your blood. And if your blood is toxic, your body will find or acidic, your body will find a secondary way to offset the acidity. How? Well, the outgassing through the lungs is one way. The offsetting of trash to the kidneys is another way. Your bowels, your skin are all buffering systems designed to protect your lifeblood. And if the lifeblood is toxic or acidic, your body is sick and diseased. If the lungs can keep up, they'll take on some of the burden for you. But what you eat impacts how your lungs perform, how your sinuses work, how your metabolism functions. And if the gut is congested, the lungs compensate. You have to start making this connection. If there was one nugget that you took away from tonight, it would be this. If you have a symptom tomorrow morning when you wake up, ask yourself, did you poop good yesterday? If you go to get through halfway your day and you start feeling snotty, or you feel like pressure building up in your ears and the barometric pressure of the weather changed, did you poop well this morning? If you go to bed tonight and you're tossing and turning and you wake up hot in the middle of the night, did you have a second bowel movement this last evening? And if you don't have a bowel movement every day, it's a problem. If you don't have a bowel movement twice a day, it's a problem. So we're always working towards getting your body to cleanse the trash that you're detoxing from 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. in the most prime meridian, 5 to 7 in the morning, when your bowels are most active, have the biggest bowel movement ever. So within 30 minutes to an hour waking up, you should have a bowel movement. How can we do that? Drink water first thing in the morning. Put some of my microbiome salt in your water every morning, a quarter teaspoon, half teaspoon, even a full teaspoon if you're really backed up, to do a full out, wash of the bowels. Every exhale becomes a detox effort. Every exhale to protect your lifeblood. We do not want to use your lungs as a continual lifeboat whenever you're being burdened with toxin that you should be pooping out and peeing out more effectively. When you reduce the load and you improve bowel function and have that second bowel movement of the day, I promise you, you'll go to bed easier. You'll sleep better. When the sun goes down, don't have a big fatty meal. Don't eat a big meaty meal. I mean, if you need something after 7, fine, whatever. Eat some protein, but don't eat like a, big 16-ounce steak. I remember one time I was, out at I think we were at Disney World, and we went to a really fancy restaurant. The meal was at 9 p.m. And I didn't just have a 16-ounce steak. I had a 16-ounce steak with vegetables, with an appetizer, with a dessert. This was many, many long years ago. And you bet your bottom dollar I had meat sweats. And it wasn't even meat sweats. I'm certain, because I've eaten a ton of meat at, after hours on a carnivore diet, and it doesn't happen that same way. I mean, I can tell I don't sleep as well if I eat a big old fatty meal in the dark. But the reality is that night, because of the sugar, because of the complexity of the meal that I put in, my body was not able to detox, digest, and sleep all 3 of those processes at the same time effectively. So you can imagine, I felt really raunchy the next day. I felt borderline hungover. As a matter of fact, I got my first fever blister that next day because my body, overused minerals. I didn't have enough calcium, magnesium, and essential fats to balance out the amount of sun that I got exposed to. Very fascinating how the body gives us check engine lights, slaps us upside the head and says, dude, wake up. So reducing the load on your bowels, having 2 bowel movements a day is critical and key if you are inflamed. In the tissues of the lung, fluid linking environmental exposure to chronic inflammation and poor oxygen exchange, therefore disrupting mitochondrial activity. This is again back to the metabolism. Mitochondria produce ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Without ATP, without cellular energy, without cellular respiration, the burden essentially stalls out, start to suffocate. You don't want your lungs suffocating and not performing like they're supposed to because they're burdened out gassing toxins all day long. That's essentially what drives that brittle COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disruption, that crackly lung. That's what causes asthma. That's what causes the scar tissue. The lungs share the same mucosal immune barrier. It is essential that we take care of our sinus mucous membranes, our lung mucous membranes, but that happens through healthy digestive membranes. The gut and the lungs are one and the same. They're an extension of each other, helping each other, serving each other, and essentially the lungs will help where they can, but left unchecked, inflammation unchecked, the lungs will give out, overworked, and what the gut can't do, they will start, lung system essentially begins to malfunction, wear out, and symptoms arise. So just understand the lungs are key. If you have symptoms like asthma, wheezing, air hunger, excessive yawning, if you have snoring issues, if you have sleep apnea, if you are tied into these sleep studies and they're telling you that you get you're a shallow sleeper, you're a shallow breather, that you're not getting deep REM, or your metric for measuring sleep quality, your HRV, are out of range and out of balance, it's because you're not detoxing well, because again, you're using the wrong exit channel. The lungs were never designed to be a full-out detox system. They're more of a exhaust and temperature regulator and an oxygen exchanging pH and oxygenating your mitochondria and your cells for healthy oxygen tissue exchange, for mitochondrial healing, for detoxification, for every process that oxygen gives to our body, aka life. Got to have the lungs for healing and restoration. So we don't want them burdened with external tasks. So here's some practical reset tips. We talked about some of these last time, but I just want to come back to it. Change your microbiome, change your health. This is why we started this class. The gut rules them all. The principles that we teach: healthy fibers, polyphenols, fermented foods. How about just getting rid of antibiotics? I had a patient just today. I was so excited. Her medical doctor and nurse practitioner got so excited because she did not need urinary tract infection support, aka antibiotics, because she used our, when in doubt, Congoplex it out protocol. Congoplex, Arginex, cranberry. Guess what? The Congoplex boosted her immune system, got her T cell count up so she could go fight the infection, support the immune system. The Arginex flushed the kidneys, and the cranberry flushed the bladder, changed the pH of the bladder. Guess whose infection went away? Boom, lickety split overnight, and she did not need the antibiotic. They were so impressed. They said, "Well, what are you doing? Who are you seeing? How are you doing? How'd you lose that 40 pounds?" "Well, I've been seeing this nutritionist, Dr. Chapa, and all of a sudden my body's been working for me, and it's so cool to see." Now, she's still got some challenges in her health. Her pH is still off, but we're seeing metabolic change. Her body is detoxing better, and she's not leaning into these medications anymore. So diet is critical and key. We need to get people onto food, less inflammatory foods. We need to get them off of medication, and we need to start restabilizing the gut microbiome and watch how the liver works. The metabolism changes, the lungs impacted, and your body's overall system begins to flow and function like it's supposed to. Detox. Man, I'm telling you, if you're not detoxing in the 21st century, go to drchapawellness.com. Our protocol and program is literally designed for this very thing. If you need restoration, vitality, if you've never done a detox, I've got a course for you. If you've detoxed, I got a course for you. If you need accountability because you just don't want to do it alone, I got an accountability team for you. We can together make your life better through detoxification, through mineral support, hydration, and getting your body to eliminate properly. Waste removal is key. Binders are key. Understanding how to use these tools is key. And I teach this stuff week after week, day after day. I feel sort of like a broken record, but I've just come to realize that it's okay that you guys hear it over and over again, because the more you get it and you realize it's your life, your health, your choice, you can change your metabolic destiny, so to speak. You can live better, be better, stay better. And just like that lady that came in who had the antibiotic, instead of using antibiotics, use the things her husband said is goes, man, I think I'm ready to become a patient. I said, about time. And the reality is, yes, it's about time. And my door's always open. I'm excited because I want you to experience good health. I want you to experience better quality of life. I want you to have vin, vigor, and vip. I want you to have energy and vitality all the days of your life, fully functional in spirit, mind, and body. And that's where this last step is. We got to focus in and dial in. How do we make a difference for the kingdom of God? And that comes through feeling your best, which comes through you taking the bull by the horns. My daughter calls me this morning. We learned a new scripture today, Dad, and I've heard you quote it a billion times. Romans 12:1. I beseech thee, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies a living, reasonable service. That is super cool to me. Super cool to me. Romans 12:1. And then it goes on to say in Romans 12:2, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So you guys and I need to hear this message over and over and over again, that there's a better way than drugs and surgery for your ails. There's detox support, there's diet programs, there's mineral restoration programs, rehydration programs, getting your body to perform like it was designed. When you feel good, I promise you'll hear different in the spirit. You'll see different in the world. You'll have more mercy and grace for people and health, but we're wired this way, some of us, and we have these are our battles. So we have to lay these things down at the King's feet and say, not my will be done, Lord, but yours and yours alone. My only aim, Acts 20:24, is to finish the race that you've set before me. The testament of testifying to your good news of your glory, your grace through Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Some version of that, like slightly off my daughter, but I'm just running my mouth at this point. Fitness. If the dude don't move, the dude don't groove. If you feel good, if your energy is right, your recovery is right, you're going to feel like going for a walk tonight. Have another gentleman, and he is suffering, okay? He's had a lot of different cancers. He's had a lot of history of smoking, and he beat his body up pretty bad. And by the time I got my hands on him, he had already had 2 cancers and some chemo and radiation. So he was already down what we call the metabolic alley of disease, dis-ease, suffering, symptom patterns, and he needed an overhaul. And we've gone through some major detox protocols. We've done some vegetarian protocols. Now we're doing some keto into carnivore. Then we came out of the keto carnivore into allowing some vegetables back in. More of a guy is now walking 2 miles a day, and he is healthier, stronger, even though he has a really complicated past. Why? Because we're going through the process of restoring tissues, detoxifying tissues, and healing tissues, and helping him see food is medicine, movement is motion is lotion, and holistic healing to a faith-based mindset where he can redirect and pray differently and think differently and live differently in a world that's just constantly beating us up with toxins and poisons, whether it's in our overuse. We cannot outsource our health. We have to take the bull by the horns. We have to educate ourselves, empower ourselves, equip ourselves, and surround ourselves with other wellness warriors to come together to make a wellness impact in our families and become generation jumpers, taking the next right step, the next small step sometimes that leads to consistency in steps, helping you move your health onward, upward, goodward, and Godward. Food swaps. Dude, we got to figure out a way to get away from fast food into real food. If you eat make-believe food, guys, the best you'll ever know if you keep doing the things that you've been doing. Detox programs. If you're not detoxing in the 21st century, I want to encourage you. ChapaWellness.com, Detox in a Box is your ticket to a better version of you. You'll feel 10, 15 years younger. You'll have more energy. You'll have more mental clarity. You'll feel deeper, more rested when you wake up. You will get a lifestyle rhythm and pattern where you feel like this becomes a part of your wellness game and your wellness year, your body balance coming back into rhythm like God designed it to. And it will. No matter what symptom that you have, no matter what disease you've been diagnosed with, you can start taking small, consistent steps in a better direction, different direction, with new information to get a better outcome and a better result. I have seen it thousands of times, and I'm excited to share those messages with you. So let's reset your body together. When you heal the gut, the body follows. The Detox in a Box is your ticket to a better version of you. So visit the Detox in a Box website and follow us on all of our social media platforms. And impacts the liver, impacts the lymphatics, impacts the lungs. And we see that if you are a patient or a person that has asthma, wheezing, air hunger, excessive yawning, you need to stay in the orbit and recognize that there are foods that you are eating that are inflaming you. There are toxins that you're getting exposed to day in and day out that are poisoning you. Some of the stuff is in your cupboard. Some of the stuff is under your sink. Some of the stuff is plugged into your walls. Some of the stuff you can't control outside your homes. And so I really just want to encourage you to stay tapped in and plugged into the detox game and let us teach you how to live your best life through functional blood chemistry analysis, through our metabolism tests, through our gut microbiome testing, through looking at your health through a better, different lens. And when you do that, you will see health begin to change in a great way, like that slide just showed, that when you have a healthy digestive tract, the body will follow your gut health levels. If the gut is healthy and whole, so is your mind, so is your liver, so is your metabolism, so is thy lungs. So enjoy the night, folks. Stay dialed in. Tap into our social media. Follow us, like us, help this message get out if you like the information. Sorry for the little technical disruption in the beginning, but at the end of the day, I think we made it, and I hope that you guys... Chapa loves ya. Woo, baby. That's right. So we'll check you guys on the flip side. I'm going to double check before I jump off if there was any questions that I missed. I got to jump into a different screen. All the technical issues that I wasn't able to moderate myself. Normally I'm a little better at that, but I'm just going to leave it up just a second and see if there's any questions, comments, concerns, computations. The guy don't move, the guy don't groove. Yes, I agree. Y'all stay strong, stay healthy. I don't see any questions on this particular spot, but I'm happy that you guys are tuned in and dialed into what we're doing. So every Monday night, 7 p.m. typically. Tonight, we're about 15 minutes behind schedule, but adios.